What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Gibson A Go Go, the show in which we get to talk about one of my favorite instrument manufacturers, Fender. Just kidding, of course it's Gibson. You can't name a show Gibson A Go Go and talk about anything other than Gibson and maybe Epiphone, right? So as you can see, we are in a new studio space. Finally, I've been waiting about a year to get into this space right here, and with any luck at all, we'll be here for the next 10 to 20 years. So we're still putting it together. We're making some pretty good progress. We're almost done, and I have been getting boxes left and right from Zounds. So huge thank you to Billy at Zounds. He makes so much of this behind the scenes stuff possible and in front of the scenes, because 2 of those boxes contain Thunderbirds. Now, I don't know which one is which. I know that both of them are Thunderbirds, and I know which models they are, but this particular one, I don't know what's in it. Now, of course, if you're watching this video, you've seen the thumbnail, you've seen the title, so you know what it is, but at this very moment, I do not. So let's pop it open together. We can see how it comes from the factory, and as far as I know, after it was set up, nobody's touched it. So we get to look at how it's packed, what QC issues, if any, there are, case candy, case, etc., etc. So let's pop it open and see what's inside. Be nice to have the proper tools to do this, but I'm using my Wallet Ninja, so I'm gonna have to speed this footage up because it's gonna take forever. Okay, so inside our larger box is a smaller box that says Gibson. Now this box isn't ridiculously tall, I'm just seated ridiculously low. I'm using an orange 112 cabinet to sit on. The main reason for that is because I found it works better as a chair than a speaker cabinet, because I hate the way this sounds, so I'm just gonna use it as a chair. Alright, so here's our case. This is not too dissimilar from the 2019 standard Thunderbird case. These latches seem to be a little bit more, they're a little thicker, a little more heavy duty. Kind of actually like the case for the black SG bass that we got sometime. I think it's a 2021 SG bass. It's a little bit more like a shaped case, you know, but the latches are similar. Those ones are like a satin gold. These are more of a gloss gold. So let's pop it open and see how it comes. Oh, look at that. Since this is kind of the meat and taters of this video, we're gonna look at that second. Let's see what's in here. I've touched on this before, but it's fun to just do it in real time. So again, here's our strap that we're probably never gonna use. So thank you anyway, I appreciate it. Here is our bag with our cleaning cloth, multi-tool. Let's check out the multi-tool. Actually, let's do that later. Keys for the case, the do not eat those things, baby photo, QC checklist, boom. Okay, so this is not only my first time seeing this particular instrument, but this is my first ever experience with this Gibson Non-Reverse Thunderbird, and it's not as heavy as I thought it would be, so if weight is an issue, this is decent. I am not good at guessing weights or ages. All of my girlfriends have loved that quality, but it feels light and it looks young. I'm seeing a couple little tool marks, and the issue that I touched on with the SG bass, this needs some love. This needs some lemon oil conditioner. The other thing is the coveted neck dive on the lap a little bit. Yeah, it kind of wants to dive. So let's touch on some specs. Okay, so we've got Inverness green. It's not tremendously green. It's like a little off blue. I like it a lot. It feels good. Again, having not played it yet, I feel like I'm gonna like my regular 2019 Thunderbird better. But this is cool. This feels a little lighter. It's not a neck through, it's a set neck. The website spec says that it's Indian rosewood, 12-inch radius. I believe it's a 1.6 instead of a 1.5. The original Thunderbirds are 1.5, this is 1.6. There was a couple things that I disliked about the regular Thunderbird stock, but I didn't like the black pickups. I don't know, they just don't do it for me. Now I know that my EMGs that I put in there are also black. I would love for EMG to do chrome ones, but the look of the chrome T-Bird Bucker is just so cool. So I'm into the aesthetic. I think we all know how we all feel about the three-point bridge at this point. And now they've got the Hipshot Ultralite mini clover tuners up at the headstock. Now, in my opinion, there's nothing wrong with the stock Gibson tuners. They work fine, they feel great, they hold a tune, they're a good ratio, there's no reason to replace them. So therefore, and again, I have nothing against Hipshot, makes wonderful things too. They're both great. I've had multiple experiences with Hipshot. They've all been outstanding. So I'm not upset that there's Hipshot on there, but I think the reason for putting them was less about their better tuners and more about their lighter tuners, because again, we're trying to alleviate that. I'd be curious to see how that feels once it's on a strap. And it doesn't feel like, obviously, you know, when you hold it like this, the bass wants to fall that way. So as far as its balance point, theoretically it should be better than the stock T-Bird because your strap pin is a little bit closer to the 12th than it would be on the regular ones where it's a little bit closer to here. It's probably going to be better than the Epiphone 5-string because the headstock is shorter, unlike the 5 that has an extra tuning peg. That thing just wants to fall to the floor. So we won't know for sure until we actually get a strap on it, but sitting on the lap, it wants to go a little bit. So there's that to look out for. I imagine that once this fretboard is conditioned, it'll probably look really nice because it, other than for it being dry, it looks like a decent cut of wood. Now, also, you're watching me take this out of the box and look at it for the first time, but by this point, you've probably heard a couple of sound samples, which I have done a little bit later. So as of right now, I have not heard it. I have a pretty good idea of what it's going to sound like, but the sound that you're hearing it through is my Tech 21 VT bass rack mount unit set to Tech 21's SVT preset from the manual. So yeah, I just dialed in the SVT preset. I'm going into the VT bass. You're hearing the SansAmp signal and the direct signal blended together. And then maybe just for fun, I'll do a couple in the Tech 21 GED 2112 rack mount unit, again set to Getty's tone from the manual, and recorded the same way. You're gonna have two XLRs of each channel blended together. So let's hear another tone. Okay, I'm gonna go to the website to make sure I didn't miss any other specs. I don't think that I did, but just to be more thorough than not thorough. Body shape, non-reverse Thunderbird, mahogany body, nitrocellulose gloss lacquer, mahogany neck, rounded profile, 34 inches, Indian rosewood, 12-inch radius, 20 frets, medium jumbo frets, Graphtec nut width, I was right, is 1.6, acrylic dot inlays, glued neck. Now the electronics, they say the neck pickup is the Thunderbird Rhythm, and the bridge pickup is the Thunderbird Lead. Now, this is probably getting really nitpicky. The stock, the regular shaped Thunderbird, you know, the neck through one, they call them Rhythm T-Bird and Lead T-Bird. Now, I know they just swapped it, and T-Bird is just a shortening of Thunderbird. I wonder if they're the same pickups or if they're actually different. I have no idea. Again, as of yet, I have not heard this bass, but I'm gonna guess that they're the same. 2 volumes, master tone, 1/4 inch output jack. That's a random, yeah, of course. As of the recording date of this date, which is April 25th, 2022, these are going for $18.99, down a bit from the $2,300, $22.99. So yeah, we'll call it $2,300 versus $1,900. So it's a $400 difference going down. So before I get into that, I've got some thoughts. Let's hear another tone. And again, I'm not going to tell you how it sounds. I just want you to hear it and tell me how you think it sounds, because the most I can give you is, you can't feel it, you can't touch it, but you can hear it the same way I can hear it. So at that point, my opinion doesn't mean much more than yours does. So here's another tone, and just let me know what you think it sounds like. Okay, so there's your other tone. Let me know what you thought. As far as the feel goes, I know I've been a stickler for how things feel. I don't care how they sound. The way I've been going about this in the room is the way I would go about it at a store. You want to plug it in? No, thank you. I've just learned everything I need to know, give or take, right there. The nut width different is definitely noticeable to me. I prefer the narrower nut width, the 1.5 of the stock T-Bird to the 1.6 of this T-Bird. And this is, okay, so if you're easily offended by opinions that you don't agree with or don't understand, this is the point to click off the video. If there are any luthiers present or anyone with any experience building instruments, please jump in and let me know, because all I know is what I'm feeling. I don't know what it is. But this instrument feels cheaper to me. It resonates in my hand differently than any of the other Gibson basses we've ever shown. The stock T-Bird, the LP Junior double cut, the SG bass, the other SG bass, and what else do I have? The short scale Thunderbird. We've shown a handful of Gibsons, and they all are pretty consistent along their feel, even though some of them are neck through, some of them are set neck. None of them are bolt on. This one's set neck. It's just a glued in neck joint like anything else, like Les Paul, you know. But something about, I don't know if it's the lighter weight. If you handed this to me eyes closed and said, guess the manufacturer, I would say Schecter. I would say that this feels like a Korean instrument that should be priced between $1,200 and $1,500. Caveat, I can feel that the neck is dry. It's drying my fingers out. So whatever oils were in my fingers are now absorbing into this board, I think, because I can feel like I need lotion, or just I feel like I need to wash my hands. I'm guessing these are the same strings as the black SG bass that I loved so very much, but they feel, yeah. So I'm gonna ignore that, because with a little TLC, with a little fretboard conditioning and my preferred strings, I'll be liking that part of it better. I don't like that it's light. That's just a me thing. I don't like the way that it's resonating in my hand. It's not like horrifically atrocious to where I want to put it down. I would pick my other T-Bird of the two. If you handed me this and the other one, I would play the other one just about every time. Let me try it with a pick. Again, not the pick I normally use, but... Okay, it's not bad. I like the... I don't know, the way that it responds just feels like it's made out of plastic or something. That might be a little overly harsh. But I will say the $400 or so step down from the regular T-Bird to this is noticeable. I'm feeling it. Okay, Future Chris cutting in here. After wrapping it up, I feel like I might have been like a little harsh on it. I still stand by what I said. But I guess maybe to throw in one extra positive is it does have that vintage vibe to it. I'm curious to see, once I address the issues that I'm having with, the dry fretboard and the strings and get it set up to my liking, I want to revisit this. Because first impressions, yes, count for something, but once you kind of grow to find an instrument's strengths and you get it to kind of fit you, you start having a difference of opinion. So I want to revisit this somewhere down the line when I kind of whip that into shape to kind of suit my standards. But let's continue. And again, like I said, the SG bass, the black one, looked worse than this when it came, and a little lemon oil, and it looks awesome now. It's like one of the best looking fretboards. The neck join looks good. I don't see any issues there, no cracking, no funny business, as they say. Yes, I don't like how light it is, and I don't like how it responds in my hands. I think those are subjective things. You may like how light it is. You may like how it responds in your hands. So in the interest of keeping it as objective as possible, the defects that I'm seeing, I would argue are maybe natural due to being stored in a box in a warehouse and who knows where and then being shipped across the desert. And they're predominantly aesthetic. Like, the tuners aren't broken. The construction, the integrity of the heel join is, I'm going to just say it's impeccable. There's no big dings or scratches. Again, you're going to need a little fretboard conditioner. That's not unheard of. I would like to have thicker springs. Not a big deal. Just because it might not be my favorite cup of coffee. That doesn't mean, maybe you hate the original Thunderbird and this is your jam. That's awesome. I'm just here to tell you that it is what it is. It's not my preferred nut width, and we've been over that. So, before we wrap this up, let me put this down. And I touched on this in another video, but we didn't open it. So let's open it and see what's inside. So I will say this multi-tool is pretty rad, and I have a feeling it's going to come in handy with this bass. So we got our truss rod, flathead, Allen, smaller Allen, smallest Allen. That's one side. Other side, we've got Phillips, smaller Phillips, and then 4 more Allens. So any adjustment you need to make on that instrument or any Gibson, done. It feels good. Like, it feels solid. I think this would rival anything you could buy from Dunlop or D'Addario. But personally, for me, I prefer the original Thunderbird. I prefer the SG bass in the way that it feels, and the SG bass is a little bit cheaper. I don't know, man. If it's your flavor and you like the vibe and you like the tone and you like the shape and you like the color, then as you know, if you like all those things, this is not a big deal. then I'd say go for it. It's cool. If you got the means and you want it, I say go for it. You've heard it through one of the most popular Tech 21 preamps of all time. Chances are you probably have the pedal version. I used to have the pedal version. The rack just made more sense for where I'm taking the studio setup. So I've rambled for long enough. That is my take on the Gibson Non-Reverse Inverness Green Thunderbird. And we'll see you next time. Oh yeah, like and subscribe and all that stuff.